When was this?
I can tell you because when we were there, we went out that night and saw The Natural, the movie The Natural.
Oh, so just look up the movie release date.
I'm going to look up movie release date. I'll tell you when that was.
Welcome to Special Interest Hour with Dave.
1984. It's a lap steel guitar.
Yes.
And it was a Fender. It was done by a musician by the name of Freddie Tavares, who worked for Leo Fender. And he was Leo Fender's main designer. One of the guys that did all the drawings and the design for the Fender Telecaster, the Precision Bass, and the Stratocaster. But he's the musician that did that.
Oh my God, you picked the right key.
Using a Fender lap steel. Just in a glissando. That's all he's doing.
You changed the key.
Yeah, well, whatever. You know what I mean.
And how do you know this?
Because I've been playing pedal steel for 50 years almost.
But like, who told you that? Did you look it up?
Oh, you studied it. You just knew it. You
What book is there available?
I have a Fender book downstairs that I think talks about that, but it's common knowledge. If you're a guitar player, you know this.
No, common knowledge is George Washington was the first president of the United States.
Okay, people always go, how did you get into playing pedal steel? I go, actually, the first guy that I really listened to was the summer I graduated from high school. Stephen Stills put out this double record called Stephen Stills and Manassas.
I was going to say, I bet it's Manassas. Everything goes back to Manassas.
I'd already been listening to the Eagles, and I knew that Bernie Leadon was using this Bender guitar. But then Stills came out with the Manassas record, and he put this pedal steel front and center in the band. And I was in high school. I hadn't even gone to Michigan State yet. And I felt that record was a complete head turner for me. I love Stephen Stills, but that band was like, yeah. And then they go to Michigan State and they're getting bands like them at Lizards. Mm-hmm. And it was Al Perkins was the first long hair that I knew that, and I'd heard songs like Someday Soon by Judy Collins, which was Evans, but I hadn't gotten, crazy into it. And from these Texas bands that came up from Austin that were playing this long hair country blues stuff and swing. A couple of bands that came down to the bar that Julie and I worked at had pedal steels. And I freaked. Because they were playing some real honky-tonk, crying in your beer, Rusty Weir stuff. And I just go and park in front of the pedal steel player all night. Waylon Jennings he was one of the forefront guys. He completely disregarded all the Nashville, because the Nashville sound at the time was a lot of strings and way overproduced stuff. Mm-hmm. And Waylon just goes, hey, I just want to just play this stuff and just rock it. And Waylon Jennings hit, and Ralph Mooney was a steel player. And we went and saw him, and I just went, that's it. Because Mooney was like the B.B. King of pedal steel.
Oh.
Ralph Mooney was the first guy that I went nuts over. All that early Buck Owens stuff is all Ralph Mooney.
Didn't you have to chase down Ralph Mooney and ask him?
Yeah, we chased Ralph Mooney down after a Waylon show once.
What?
Yeah, after a Waylon Jennings show. I had a book, a steel guitar book with Ralph Mooney's picture in it and his tuning in it. So I asked the guy,
because it was all different tunings.
Is Mooney there? Get him to come out. Did you ask him to come out?
No, you did not.
I did. He came out. He signed my book. I still got it. Ralph Mooney.
Is it over there or downstairs?
Oh, I don't need it. It's downstairs somewhere. Yeah, Mooney signed it. Yeah, he was flattered anybody would give a about him. Dude, man, I love you playing. Ralph Mooney. He was a street guy. Looney Tunes wrote the Bible for steel at the time, and there wasn't any books out there on instruction. And he listed all the great players, had all their tunings and all their pedal sounds. Everybody's different. And we went to the steel convention, and I was talking to Winnie Winston. He was saying, he has a great story about Ralph Mooney. I said, you talked to Mooney on this? He goes, oh, yeah. He says, I called him up. And I says, I'm doing this book, and I want to know what your tuning is. He goes, I don't know. Well, let me ask the guys in the band. They'll help me. says, I'll call you back. So he gets a call back like a few days later, and it's Mooney. Mm-hmm. And he says, yeah, the guys helped me with this.
Because he didn't know
his own tuning.
Yeah.
He goes, well, the one string is a B, and the one string is a E, and the third string, they tell me it's a G sharp. Now, I don't know what that means, but the guys in the band said you would know. That's a true story. He played a show bud, and so did Lloyd Green. I don't really like show buds, even though I own 2 of them. And now I don't like them. But the only 2 guys in the world, to me, that I can stomach listening to play a show bud were Ralph Mooney and Lloyd Green. They're both so good, it didn't matter what they played. Nothing sounds like Hammond's guitar.
Yeah.
Well, he started show bud with Shot Jackson. Shot Jackson show. Shot Jackson Bud, Buddy Hammond show bud. Shot Jackson Buddy Hammond. That's where that comes from. And they built the first true commercial steels, even though Leo Fender had them out, but they were cable driven. And the cables would stretch and they'd go out of tune. Buddy wanted a big, fatter, thicker sound. So he worked with Shot, and they designed the first show buds. And they actually were decent. They were really decent sounding pedal steels. And then Buddy wanted to take it somewhere else, and Shot Jackson didn't want to. So this guy named Ron Lashley in North Carolina and Buddy got together, and they started the Emmons Guitar Company, and completely different design. The bodies of the steels. Shot always used bird's eye maple and wooden necks. Emmons Company used maple bodies with mica reinforcement.
Okay.
So it's even solidified the wood even more, and metal necks. Game changer. And the mechanism on mine is the last of the old push-pulls. It's a real complicated changer. You almost do it, the changer works backwards than a show bud. With show buds, you tune the string, and then you hit the pedal, and then you tune the pedal, raise it to pitch. It's got to be perfect. You tune B, and then you hit the pedal, and then you tune in the C sharp note with the fine tuner for the pedal. With the Emmons, you tune to the pedal engaged, and then you adjust the open. It's backwards.
Oh.
And the reason that they do this, I've heard this explanation, and why the Emmons guitars ring like they do. I don't know what the explanation. And Jeff Newman used to say this. It's everything. When you pedal into a chord, when you hit your 2 pedals together, the guitar opens up. Instead of being pulled up tight, it relaxes. When you hit the pedals, the guitar goes to its natural state, and that's part of the sound. With the push pull, it works. It just works differently. With the Emmons, it's like, forget it. Just like I told Scotty when I bought it, just set it up for me. This is what I want.
And that's the guy that
I bought my steel from.
Yes.
Scotty used to run the steel guitar convention in St. Louis. He was a real character. I met him first at Jeff Newman's in Nashville. Another one of these characters.
So that's not the one that just fixed your amp?
No, that's Scott Russell.
Oh.
I'm talking Scotty. DeWitt Scott. DeWitt Scott. He went by Scotty. He was in St. Louis.
Just like
That's where I got my pedal steel from. I called Scotty up. I go, what do you got? You got a black Emmons? I want a black Emmons. He goes, I don't have black Emmons. I got a rosewood one. I go, okay, I'll take it. Set it. How do you want it set up? And I told him, I want this. Because everybody's different.
Yeah.
E's F for here, E flat is here. I wanted him to set it up with a double stop. Mm-hmm. Go E flat to D. And then to D flat, all this other stuff.
I was going to say, what about Newman?
Well, Jeff was he was.
You didn't already know about Jeff at that point?
No, Jeff was a session player. He was killed in a ultralight plane crash.
What?
Yeah, he was a pilot, and he was the forefront steel guitar teacher in the world. And that's how I first got into this. Was he came to Detroit and did a seminar, and me and Dave Arnold went down when you knew me. When you just after you first knew me, we went down to Detroit for a day and we did this whole seminar. And then I was on his mailing list, and he says, "Well, I'm starting this steel guitar school in Nashville, Steel Guitar College." I tell you what was really fun was when I went down to that pedal steel college for a week in Nashville. That was really cool because at night we do something different every night. We go to Opry. He got us backstage at the Opry. We'll go.
You've been backstage at the Opry?
Oh yeah, I met all the players.
Oh my God.
Leon Rhodes, all these big players are all. Oh yeah, Jeff. Hey Jeff. Yeah, Jeff goes. Hey, my college students. Come on, meet them. Ernest Tubbs, guitar player. Leon Rhodes, famous guy, real famous guy, jazz player. He came right up to me. Hi, I'm Leon Rhodes. Oh wow, cool. And you know, like to anybody else, nobody gives. But I knew who Leon Rhodes was. He was in Ernest Tubbs' Texas Troubadours with Buddy. They did all that, walking the floor, all this cool country jazz. One night we went to Bradley's Barn, the recording studio where all the records in Nashville were made. We got to lay down a track. Yeah.
You've never told me any of this.
Yeah, we got to lay a track down. And then what else did we do? Well, one night Emmons came out. And Jeff had some of his pals come in and they did a whole band thing for like 2.5 hours. Just playing, just Emmons. Talking to everybody. He signed my Ray Price record there. And we went to the Showbud Company, and then I took my steel and they added 2 levers for me that I needed. And all the theory stuff, all that crying in your beer, all those harmonic runs that I do, that was all Jeff. He showed us he showed us the formula, how you do them. In fact, one of the things that I teach my kids was something that Jeff showed us, how soloing works and why. And you went, oh. I made a chart on it. I teach that now. It's the stuff that he taught us back in like 1976.
Oh, is that when you just take the first note of the scale and move it?
Yeah. That's Jeff Newman.
Oh, amazing.
He goes, well, them notes don't line up. They're the blue notes. They work. They're the blue notes. Okay. It's a minor third you're playing. It's a blue feel. It's a cool note. It'll work.
Didn't Buddy Evans put something on
the leg of my steel folded up? What the is this?
Why?
$10 bill folded up, and I picked it up and I opened the $10 bill up and it said, turn steel guitar up.
What?
And that was Buddy Evans.
Yeah, Evans did that. It looked just like a $5 bill, a $10 bill. Well, what's this?
You never told me that.
You had been in a seminar.
Yeah, well, it was a seminar with Buddy. I think he did to the guys that he thought were good. But the amazing thing was, at the end of it, it was a C6 seminar. We were doing jazz stuff. I was really trying to get into C6 neck. And so at the end of the class, he says, I need a couple guys. We're going to put a track on it, and we're going to trade 4s.
Oh. I think I've heard this one,
and
but go ahead.
And he says to me, you and this other guy, you. I'm going, oh no, 4s, but you got to be kidding. This guy's a god. He's a god.
Yeah.
This is the what's the highest mountain in the world?
Everest.
K2.
This is Mount Everest. So he's putting on this jazz thing.
Mount Emmons Rest.
So he's putting on this jazz thing. So we get going, and then so he does 4s, and then he turns to me, and so I'm going, okay, basic, do the Emmons thing, real basic, say something, tone, and then get out. Mm-hmm. So he does this thing.
Honey, shush.
So I play 4s. So then the other guy does it, and.
Oh, no.
And so Buddy goes back. The other guy keeps playing on top of him.
No.
So then he turns to me, and the guy's still playing over me.
Oh, no.
Just showing off for everybody in the class. And I'm sitting there, I go, I can't believe this guy's playing over. You know, like the cardinal sin, you never do. And I'm packing up the steel, and Emmons comes up to me, and he goes, man, you did real good. Oh God, did I feel like I felt like I was about 3 miles tall.
Yeah.
And they give me the $10 bill, turn the steel guitar off.
When was this?
1984.
We've come full circle.
Well, you know what's funny? I didn't play pedal steel just because they need a pedal steel player. I played pedal steel because I liked it and I was good at it and I had a feel for it. And I was really interested in it, and I learned a lot of about music on it. All the chord theory is all pedals. I haven't even given you everything.
Oh, I know.
Of all the stuff that it does.
I know.
I was playing that in the bars 4 and 5 nights a week. I mean, I got hundreds of hours.
And how much does it weigh?
About 80 pounds. Weighs a ton.
How long have you had it?
I bought it new in 1978.
And it just now had an issue? Like the first ever issue that it's had?
No, that's the amp.
Oh, the amp.
The steel has given me no problems.
Okay.
The amp I bought about 6 months before, because I was using a twin before.
And this problem is known to happen with the amp? They only last 40 years?
Well, they're filter capacitors. They filter out AC hum. And there's electrolytic material in there that it's a chemical. And after so long, the electrolytic material starts to migrate. It just has a shelf life. After so long of them being hot and doing all that conducting, the electrolytic material just migrates. That's just part of the thing about a big filter cap. And they actually put holes in the end of the capacitors for the things to ooze out. And the electrolytic material acts as an insulator between the conductive elements inside a capacitor. And when all that electrolytic material oozes out, or a good portion of it, there's hardly any insulation left between the conductive plates inside a capacitor.
And that's why the lights were giving you all those problems.
Well, when they turn out the lights, the voltage on that circuit, because the lights are commanding so much electricity. So when you turn them off, the voltage spikes just a little bit. It's like when the water's okay, say the water is flowing here and you flush the toilet at the same time. And as soon as the toilet finishes up filling and shuts off, you notice how the water pressure comes back just a little bit.
Okay.
Electricity does the same thing.
Well, it's a current, yeah.
Yeah, and so what was happening was there was a slight spike. The capacitors are sitting barely holding in. They're holding in there okay. You push them really hard, the stuff arcs right across the insulation and into the next plate, and it shorts the ground, and it's not filtering anymore. All you're getting is AC hum through there. The dryer I bought with band money is still downstairs. In 1980, we were making. I mean, it's making the same I was then as I do now, 50 years later. But. You know, like I was playing in Lansing 4 nights a week, and I was pulling in about $800 a month just in playing.
Oh, back then?
Back then. That was a lot. That's what got me my tuition money for school. When I went back to school, I says, I'll take care of all my tuition and food. And she had to pay the house payment and the car and any other miscellaneous with her thing, and all I had was frickin' bar money. Or I was working for a while, and I had bar money too. I mean,
You get home at like 2 a.m. from the bar, and then have to wake up at like 6.
This was awful. This was awful. I was playing in Lansing 4 nights a week, and I was sleeping shifts. Okay, so I get home, play till 1:30, get home at 2:30, sleep till 6. Like, so what is that?
4 hours.
3.5 hours?
3.5.
Yeah. And I go to work all day, and I come home, and I'd sleep for an hour and a half, and get up and drive to Lansing and do it all again. Well, and that's when I lived on coffee.
You still live on coffee.
Yeah, I like coffee.
What changed?
Well, first of all, the girl singer that was in this band, she wanted to go on the road. Her thing was, she had a manager, and they said, you're going to go on the road. I go, I ain't going on the road.
I got a day job and a house.
Yeah, and a wife. You guys want to go on the road? Good. Find somebody else.
And how old were you?
Yeah, it was like 27.
So you officially became an old man at 27.
And it was right then I decided to go back to school.
Get your electronics degree.
Yeah. Then I picked up, other weekend jobs, and I was still playing, 3 nights a week, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I'd already been called to play guitar a lot for other things. Plus, I had been playing a bunch of crappy country gigs around here too. You know, one night the guy would bring his wife, the next night he'd bring his girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, and I just got to, and some of these guys were just dirtbags. You know, I always constantly, can I have your drink tickets? And they were already drunk. And then I just got into the blues thing. You know,
And you did that until
well, I quit playing bars in 2007.
when I got to high school.
Yeah, that was the last time I played in bars. I don't want to do that anymore. Now I'm back at Cork. We're done at 9, and it's not the same. It's not the same. You know, it's funny. I kind of been getting back into it this week. I still am nowhere near where I used to be. I was just kind of getting into it when I kind of quit playing.
Why did you quit?
Right when you were born, and there had been turmoil. So I just said I'm done, and I never got it out of the case again. I think I played one time at Bob Lowe's retirement with it, and that was it. That was 95. So that was the last time I played it for people.
Except for last
year.
Summer.
Yeah, that's it. I had it out of the case after we moved here just to set it up once. If I watch somebody on Austin City Limits playing steel, they're the newer players. You know, they're terrible. You know, it's like they play guitar and hey, I'll play pedal steel on this song, and like they don't have any technique at all. The meat of my hand is here on the strings to give that, you know, you get that stuttering kind of thing. You learn
pizzicato.
Yeah, in fact, I used to just practice on it when I'd be driving. It was this kind of emotion to get that technique down for that. The bar control thing is a whole thing. You got it. There's a way you hold. There's a way you do the vibrato. You know, you roll the bar. You don't do this. You roll the bar.
Okay.
It's much more thicker, fuller vibrato. It's really fast jazzy. Like you pick the bar up a little bit. You use it like a pencil almost. The bullet end. And you got to use a full steel bar. You can't use a drilled one. You can't use a Stevens bar. You got to use a big, fat, thick bullet one for that biggest, fattest tone. Like I got some old Nationals in there. They're all green from being tarnished. Those ones I got, the Jeff Newman.
Oh yeah.
They're called BJ picks. Buddy Emmons and diamond rings, and they had diamond little diamond cuts in them. And those are what I use. And you know, James Pennebaker, he did the same thing. He wrapped his head around, like he listens to Lloyd Green all the time. Lloyd Green was on everybody's records, and Lloyd Green plays just real super sweet and pretty. And he's like the only one I ever get a good tone out of a show. But that's Lloyd Green. You know, he did all that Charlie Pride stuff. Lloyd Green I think he was talking to Danny Flowers, and he says, "Oh, how do you know what to play?" He goes, "I just listen to the words and then play those."
Yeah.
You know, like
your grandma wants to hear Moon River.
No, but the thing is, those guys think really simply and melodically, and then execute it to perfection. Like, take the ribbon from my hair, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. It's a beautiful instrument.
Yeah.
Really, it's just a beautiful instrument.
Well, this, I would have to say, concludes Story Hour with Dave.
Oh, I could go on. I got so many stories.
I think we should start a podcast.